everyone, and welcome to the Week 7, not Week 8, Week 7 workshop on visual novels and dating sims. We're going to be mostly just kind of doing an overview of types of games, and talking about like the specific key differences between the common approaches to making them. I'm hoping for kind of a more discussion centric. I have some stuff to talk about, but we're just kind of talking about what we're interested in talking about. Yes, it is being recorded, Steve. Assuming that I set it up correctly. I think it's streaming and recording. Yeah. Brandon is giving me a. I did change the titles. I remembered to do that. I did. Yeah. So we should be all set. I'm just moving my chat out of there. All right. So why is it not there? There it is. So overview. Visual novels. They're games. They're also novels, but game novels sound bad, so we call them visual novels, or sometimes VNs. That I assume there aren't any questions here. Does anyone have any questions here? All right. Yeah. So. More specifically, visual novels can be varying levels of interactive. You know, they're typically classified as games as long as there's choice involved. Some people like to classify them as games if there isn't choice involved. I don't know what your perspective is on that, but if you want to talk about it, you can. Yeah, sometimes they're just digital stories that have art attached to them rather than just being printed as a book. Sometimes it's super intricate, immersive, branching storylines where you get to control where the story goes and what happens and every detail like that. At the very least, most visual novels will have some amount of choice involved that will typically result in multiple different endings. Even if you have pretty limited choice impact along the way, usually there's at least some pretty drastically different endings that affect your experience with this story. Any questions or comments on this? All right. Feel free to stop me at any point if you have anything like that. So, the first topic that I wanted to address is character customization, because this is something that I have seen done drastically differently in different types of VNs, and different levels of character customization can drastically change the experience that a player has in a VN, as well as kind of the goals of the writer. So we have a scale here. This was adapted from a presentation previously created by the prior writing director, and so she used some examples that I'm actually familiar with, that I haven't played, but I think that they're really solid examples, so I wanted to leave them anyway, even though I suck and didn't include the names of the games because I don't know them. But anyway, you know that one? Oh, that's one I don't know. That name, now I remember it, now that you say it. I think it's actually written somewhere. But yeah, so on the farthest left, we have examples of games where you have absolutely no say over who the protagonist is. Even though you are playing as the protagonist, the character has fully developed art, a fully developed personality. You're stepping into that character's shoes as you go through the story. You don't get to decide who they are, what they look like, anything like that. You're just playing as them through the story. And then there's kind of bit by bit until we get to the rightmost, which the Arcana I have played. And in the Arcana, there's no main character art. You get to pick the main character's name and pronouns and imagine them however you want to imagine them. And it's complete creative freedom over your own character. They don't even give you options of art to choose from. It's completely in your own head. And then in between we have different levels of that. So the one that's close to the leftmost side, the one that's closest to the dramatical converter over here, right there. That was another example. From Megan, and I'm pretty sure that one is basically like the protagonist is this girl here, and I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, they never show her from the front, and so you get to kind of imagine a little bit of what she looks like, but you're limited to this character, so there's still limited choice there. Yeah.
So first off,
that one I also don't know. I know the other ones.
Stick Messenger.
Oh, that's Stick Messenger?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And they do show the protagonist in the front, it's girl, but she has main space covered much all the way down.
Yeah. So basically, overall, you're limited to this character, but there's an amount of ambiguity there so that you can kind of project onto her however you want to interpret her. And then in the center, I put Monster Prom, because Monster Prom, you get to pick one of 4 different characters to play as. And so you're limited to these 4 options, but you still get some amount of choice, and I think that they capture a wide variety of kind of personality archetypes in how these characters look. But the character's personality is never really addressed because it's a very casual sort of game, and so it's a competitive multiplayer dating sim, which is really interesting. And basically, it's more of like you're playing a board game, and this is the little piece that you pick to go around the board. And so you get to kind of express yourself in which one you pick, but you don't really get to know too much about who your character is, because it doesn't really matter for that game. And then on the bottom right, we have Dream Daddy, which I put near the right end, but I don't think it's quite as far as the Arcana, because in Dream Daddy, you get to build your own character from character customization options, and so there's a lot of freedom there, but you're still limited to the options they give you, which means that you don't get to fully 100% imagine your character however you want. You still have a certain limited choice involved. Does anyone have any questions on this? On character customization VNs?
I think I have one. If you write your protagonist like only one wish is it better to like even blank or?
What do you mean by that? So if I'm understanding you correctly, so you're saying if you wrote your protagonist to have a certain personality, are you asking if that's okay or?
Oh, I'm asking like if it's better to like art essence or like that or like no.
Oh, I see. Specifically about the art. I don't think there's a good or bad answer. I think that it's up to whatever you want to do. I think that if you're writing the protagonist dialogue for them, even though the player is playing them, it's kind of impossible to have an entirely 100%. You know, like there has to be an amount of we are defining some amount of personality for this protagonist, even if it's limited, and even if you try to give options of different types of personalities, basically, you still kind of have to do a little bit of defining. So I think that whether or not you have art for that character is totally up to what you and your team specifically are trying to accomplish. It's more about, this actually kind of leads into a question that I was going to pose to you guys, which is, what do you think the different areas on this scale serve to accomplish in the story and for the player experience? Because that type of question is what you have to consider in order to decide where you want yours to be on the scale. Yeah.
You also have to factor in like that's essentially just budgets, that's literal economic budgets, so time is like in general we're gonna visual novel. And then a lot of what we're able to do is based on just the availability of artists, which works for them.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about doing like a visual novel, like a roll-on game, then it might be best to just do character art or get character art, I mean even that's from open game art and assets for. And then character customization is very acid intensive, like especially with like how they customize your daddy. It had to figure out a total that saved this like but not only you have narratively and how you want to connect the player in a sense living vicariously in game PC. You also have to figure out like what else can you sacrifice to make other contributions.
Really quick, I want to comment on what Leo said in the chat. Leo was asking, what would you consider to be having full choice? Because there aren't going to be options. Because there are always going to be options you have to choose from. It's not unlimited. So I think what you're referring to is specifically for like character customization, like what Brandon was just talking about with Dream Daddy. I think for sure. Yeah, you're never going to have complete unlimited freedom in a character customization screen, which is tragic to me because character customization is the best part of video games. Changed my mind. And I think the only way to have character customization is to not have main character art. You know, that's why the Arcana. What's really interesting about it is that not having character art at all allows you to imagine precisely how you want to. You're not limited at all. And it kind of sucks if you're not an artist. But for a lot of people who are artists, who are big fans of that game, they do this really cool thing where they actually draw their characters. And like there's a really big fan culture for that on the internet. This is what my protagonist looks like. Let me tell you about them. I kind of wrote a little bit about their backstory. Also, the backstory of that character is very big. In fact, it's built into the character's backstory major amnesia, so that you can project whatever you want. I actually think that's really cool. It's a very specific type of game what they're accomplishing but I think it's really effective to do what they set out to do, where you get to interpret your character however you want to, and that can be
it's very confusing, but it does work. But it does work. Some blank space per player.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does that mean there's Arcana?
There's no art. There's no art. So everything is basically like it has art for the NPCs. But then your character doesn't have art. So when your character talks, there's no sprite. And you get to type in whatever name you want, and you get to pick your pronouns and swap those out in conversation, so that you get to just kind of perceive your character however you want. So it's all in your head. It's kind of like it's kind of like reading a book where you get to imagine the characters however you want to, specifically for your protagonist. And it ends up being a really special thing. Like I said, people draw their characters. It's really cool to see all the different approaches that people take and how different everybody's character looks because they're able to do that. So circling back to the question that I posed to you guys, what do you think conversely the other end of having a character who is fully defined and fully developed?
In character customization?
No, so basically not allowing character. So in this example, I'm pretty sure you play as this guy. And when you start that game, he already has art, he already has a name, he already has a backstory, and Judah gets built into that. It's built into the story, and you're just embodying him. Leo said more immersion to be like integrated into the world already. Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
It is much easier to like flesh out characters. So like player can experience the journey without like the developers have to come with like some of these options, which is like harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can basically going forward with just a concrete idea in mind, rather than just an idea in mind, a free-floating player.
Yeah. So there are pros and cons to wherever you end up on the scale. I think in my personal experience, because Brandon and I are currently working at the end of class, and we initially made this decision very much informed by scope reasons, as he was saying. But I think that it works in our favor for the type of game that we're making. We are taking the Arcana's approach, and we're not including main character art, and we are allowing the player to type in their own name and pick their pronouns. And in doing so, we're allowing for a lot of player kind of freedom of how they interpret their character. But it also on our level meant not having to budget in the scope for a whole nother character arc. You know, we were able to just completely cut that, and so we have two NPCs, and those are the only two characters that we need arc for. And in a single quarter, that's a really helpful decision. But if you have a little bit time, or if it's more important to the type of story that you're trying to make, you might want to take the other approach and have a fully defined character. In my capstone project, we have a lot of dialogue, and we definitely have protagonist art. Because we want him to be a pre-existing character in this world that you were embodying, rather than that type of freedom and choice. So yeah. All right. Any last questions or comments on this before I move on? So that was supposed to be a different type of slide. I'm pretty sure. It's fine. So VNs that aren't did I just not finish this? I might have just not. Yeah, I didn't finish this. It's fine. That's great. This was supposed to have text here and pictures that I didn't do because I thought I finished this presentation and I didn't. So we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about dating sims because they're one of the most common type of VNs, can you guys think of any VNs that are not dating sims?
No, I don't know, like dating sims. It's like text, but it's not really like. There's no art assets like compared to the background, I think. But like, I think it kind of has the same philosophy.
Yeah, it's a different type of game, but it uses VN elements in how it approaches its like dialogue system. I agree. Brian in the chat said Acid Trip 2. Steve is talking about a few as well that I'm not familiar with. But dating isn't really the focus, I would argue. Yeah, and like VNs can have dating as an element of them, but not the main element. One could argue that they're dating sim or not. All right, we can move on from this because I didn't prep anything for this. It's fine. What was that? Steins-Gate. What's that?
It's like time traveling kind of visual. So I haven't played it myself, so I just heard that it's like really dramatic instead of like dating.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's a great example. Thank you for providing examples where I did not. All right. Now we're gonna talk about dating sims. I promise I prepped this part. So what makes a VN a dating sim? It's pretty simple. It's just having characters that you can date. So one could argue that Hades is a dating sim because technically you can date all the characters. But I think it falls more into the category of not dating that. But anyway.
Because the main point of the entire dating was what separates between dating and
Yeah. True. Yes.
Petition for next year, which I guess falls to me because I don't have videos for next year. You need to make like you've seen those alignment charts of like what constitutes like X and something of X.
Yeah.
So we have in the upper right corner, like what's the most dating sim that you can possibly think of?
Dream Daddy? I don't know.
Probably Dream Daddy. Dream Daddy is a dating sim. Lower left corner or lower right corner. Yeah. The most undating sim yet still kind of dating sim. Hades.
Maybe.
I'll have to take that for my example.
Yeah. I want to see this movie. Please make it. And Eric in the. Is that you, Eric? No, that's a different Eric. Yeah. Eric in the chat said definitely story driven and more drama oriented for the VNs that are not dating sims. So for dating sims, you need to have characters that you can date and an affinity mechanics. An affinity mechanics you're going to get into in a moment because that's a pretty key element to all of this. And I have some examples here of dating sims. Danganronpa is another example where it's not technically just a dating sim, but there are affinity mechanics. I've never played it, but I've heard this from other people, that you can you can give characters gifts, I'm pretty sure, and like grow closer to them, and so that's kind of like a dating sim element. And then Monster Charm, which is very much a dating sim, it's a very casual dating sim, it's really fun, competitive, plays kind of like a party board game type thing. And then WW Literature Club, which is pretty famous, and I'm guessing you all have heard of it, but let me know if you haven't. Which I'm too much to play, so unfortunately I don't have a whole lot to talk about in this specific section for it, but I'm obsessed with it conceptually. I'm really into that kind of stuff. Yeah, what's up?
Which one?
WW Literature Club?
I thought you said that one. I know we played about that one.
Oh, yeah, no, I've never played it either. And then there's Boyfriend Dungeon in the bottom right, which is a dungeon crawler where you can date your weapons that have like humanoid forms, and it's a dating sim, but they're all weapons. And I think it's really cool. I really want to play it, and I haven't yet, but I've heard it's fun. All right. So dating sims tend to rely very heavily on tropes and archetypes to get across characters really quick. This is because usually there's some sort of prologue that introduces you to all of the characters so that you can then decide who you want to pursue and try to use those affinity mechanics to that character. But in order to make an informed decision right from the start about who you want to pursue, you have to know who the character is really quickly. And the best way to do that is kind of relying on tropes and archetypes, especially with visual design. I think that these are all pretty good examples because I think that in each of these pictures, you can very clearly see who the character is at a glance. You know, it tells you a lot about what you need to know just visually. I'm looking at the chat real quick. Cool. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Do any of these characters stand out to you as far as like you feel like you have a really solid idea of who they are just from their art?
The bad dad.
Yeah.
If you have a one night stand with them the first day we get it. Then I spoil it again. Okay.
Eric said the guy on the very left seems very arrogant. That is quite true, in fact.
What's his name?
Lucio.
Oh,
He's from the Argonauts.
is he?
Not that Lucio. Different Lucio.
Let's see.
What about the Monster Prom one? Does anyone stand out to you there?
The middle one's like very much like the outgoing social type.
And the jock. I heard that. Yeah.
The nerd who doesn't like once you get out of here as soon as possible. Beyond that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so you can tell a lot just from their art, as I tend to yell at you guys about in writing workshops. In order to accomplish that, you need to communicate with the rest of your team. You need to communicate with your artists. You need to be on the same page from day one, talking a lot and communicating about your ideas so that the art and the narrative can reinforce each other and make sure that the art gets across what you need to have explained at a glance about these characters for people to make choices about who they want to pursue in a dating sim. Roots. There's this concept of roots in dating sims, which I've mentioned a bit already. And it's pretty simple. It's basically just the diverging path that you end up taking based on what character in dating sim you are pursuing. There's usually a common root section at the beginning that introduces you to the characters and the world and all of that. Which often is done as some sort of a prologue where you meet everyone and then it branches out from there. What's kind of interesting about this, maybe the biggest distinction in mechanics lies is whether you get to explicitly choose your route or whether your route is kind of chosen for you behind the scenes based on choices you make. So the example here is a screenshot from the Arcana, which is a mobile game. And after playing the prologue, you can click on one of the characters and start that character's. And so you explicitly choose. And so there's no risk of like, oh man, I keep trying to make choices to get closer to this character, but it keeps giving me scenes with this other character instead. You're locked into this one character's route. Others though you use stats and the choices that you make and stuff like that to sort into your monster common. Dream Daddy, but I've never played it. Can you guys think of any pros and cons about the different approaches, whether it's explicit or not explicit?
I feel like roots in dating sense in general, just the entire idea of them are sort of like monogamy centric. I think Hades like does it well. Just like you think them except for Meg, for one could be one.
Speaking of, can you rephrase the question?
Basically, so if you have a game like the Arcana where you get to very directly pick, I want to play this character's storyline, and I want to pursue this character, date this character, and see if I successfully or unsuccessfully date them in the end. Versus when it's not so explicit, when you don't get to pick, and it's just here's a story, and you're making choices throughout the end, and you're interacting with all the different love interest options at once, and eventually you end up getting close enough or not close enough to each one in different levels in order to get whatever ending you get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there are pros and cons to both. There's if you pick a route explicitly like in the Arcana, it does kind of limit you to that one character, which means you have to specifically just want to play out that character's storyline. You can't pursue more than one of them at once. For example, you can't play more than one storyline at once. You're just seeing this one version of the story. As opposed to some other options where things can be interconnected, talking to multiple characters at once, and you could potentially change path along the way.
I think the latter is like so much more complicated. I think when
it's hard to
you have multiple characters, and it's like a general storyline, but you have to write like each character as one on a path. Like if you go for like the route where like you want this character, you want to take them. It's a bit easier because like you can think about the protagonist and the character on that end, and the endings could be a little bit varied, and I think it's easier when like you just think about each character in more of a snowflake kind of kind of like more of a snowflake path thing.
It's also this is dating sim, it kind of illustrates Undertale. If you kill one of the characters, then you're just like immediately have this set path. But if you kill one of the I guess main characters, then Sans at the end does something different for that specific. But if you do like a combination of main characters, that's the same as killing one of the ordinary.
It's branching storylines like that is a topic in and of itself. I think a lot of this, the decisions that you have to make as you set out to make a dating sim regarding routes and what structure you want has a lot to do with branching storylines and the scope of that and what you can accommodate, because it is a lot easier to do this option as pictured here with the Arcana, where it's just you're picking a defined path and sticking to it. Because as soon as you have just kind of more open opportunity to make all these different choices that can affect things and have ramifications down the line, it becomes so much higher scope so quickly. And so it's definitely more challenging. Oh my gosh. I think is that still in the workshop slideshow for the branching storylines? Is that the one? Where we both have just these absurd twine games with these massive maps of branching storylines. Yeah. No, it's it can get really crazy.
It can get
You gotta
really
be careful
crazy.
with
You gotta be
branches
careful
like
with
that.
branches like
If you're
that.
looking
So
for kind of a lower
if you're looking for
entry
kind of a
point,
lower
it can
scope
be
entry
easier
point, it can be
to
easier to do
Arcana
something like
start.
the Arcana
Uh,
to start.
And if you're doing something,
And if you're
more
doing something
open-ended,
more
just be
open-ended,
very cautious
just
of
be
scope
very
and don't
cautious
let
of
it get out
scope and
control.
don't let it get out of control.
So endings. Speaking of branching
So endings.
storylines,
Speaking of
typically
branching
there are
storylines,
multiple
typically there are
endings.
multiple endings. They're usually divided
into
into good and bad. These are terms that are used commonly.
They don't
They don't necessarily
mean
mean
inherently
good and bad.
Some games have quote bad endings that are not like sad. Sometimes a bad ending doesn't have to be everybody dies and is unhappy and everything's awful. It can be less dramatic than that. Typically, good and bad at the very least in a dating sim will refer to whether you successfully date this person or whether they reject you in the end. Typically, it's determined by your choices behind the scenes, unlike picking a route. This is a lot more standard, where usually what ending you get. You can't just pick outright what ending you want to experience. Usually it is decided based on the mechanics of the game throughout, the affinity mechanics, what choices you made, who liked what you did, and who didn't. Monster prom is an interesting one because the whole point is that you're asking someone, and so it's like you go through all this story stuff and like make choices along the way, but then you get to pick to ask any of the characters to prom, and based on how you did with that specific character, they might say yes or no. And so there's a chance that a different character might say yes to you, but the one that you picked rejects you. But that doesn't mean that you now get to be with the one who would have said yes. You're just stuck with your bad ending of the character who decided to ask said no to you. So I think that's kind of interesting. But here we have a screenshot of a good ending in Monster Prom, where the zombie guy successfully asks the ghost girl to prom, and then we get to see a little screenshot of them at prom, and it's all cute. Apparently there are a couple of exceptions where you actually just get pick what ending you want to see, according to previous writing director Megan, but I have no experience with those games, so I don't know.
I feel like Monster Prom is like kind of anxiety.
Why?
I don't know. It's like you lose the point of the game, like taking someone to because they rejected you, and then you don't.
Have you played it?
No, but no, just hearing the
It's
choice of that.
The whole thing, like I said, it's very casual. It plays like kind of like a board game. It's kind of like a board game. The whole thing. It's not like you're investing hours upon hours of your time into the story and these characters. And it's very ridiculous cards against top and kind of cards against humor. And so it's the whole thing's really weird. The whole thing's really weird. It's really fun. It's really fun to play with friends. Basically, it's like if you get rejected, it's entertaining. And so it's like it's sort of a consolation prize where they make jokes about it in such a way that your friends are sitting there laughing rather than feeling bad about it. And sometimes the rejections are brutal. Like sometimes they're really mean about it, but that kind of makes it funny because the characters are all kind of terrible people, and it kind of makes it entertaining. It's an interesting one for sure. It's very casual compared to something like the Arcana, where you learn about these characters throughout their story and you can really care about them genuinely, and like you wouldn't want that same type of brutal rejection in the end. Affinity mechanics. I struggled to find screenshots for this, but affinity mechanics are usually the primary mechanic of a dating sim, and it's basically just you whatever choices you make, whatever form choices you make, whatever form choice making games, whether it's just picking between dialogue options, or whether it's something a little more complex than that. Affinity mechanics are basically behind the scenes. You usually can't see it, but sometimes you usually can't see it, but sometimes the character either likes or didn't like choices, and that affects your relationship with this character and what ending you receive you and what ending. This can also be accomplished through gifts. This can also be accomplished through gifts. Like if you give a character a gift that they really like, that tends to be a thing in a lot of games. They'll like you more. They'll like you nothing. But if you give them nothing, or if you give them a gift that they won't like, they'll like you less. Games that kind of more directly inform you of your status with a
inform you of your
character.
status with a character. I'm pretty sure include Dream Daddy because I think in that one,
there's like
if you do something that they like, there's like a bunch of emojis and stuff, and like depending on how good the emojis
or
are,
how bad the
or how
emojis
bad the
are,
emojis are, you're able to tell whether or not they liked it.
And then in Monster Prom,
there'll
there'll
be
be
like
these little icons,
icons,
where you can see whether your choice was
choice
successful
was
or not.
successful
And so
or
there
not.
are
And so there are
stats in Monster Prom,
Prom,
and different
choices
choices
use different stats.
And if you have a high enough stat in that category, such as smarts, you'll do well, and it'll be like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's great. This person liked that.
Helped
You
them out.
helped
You
them
did
out.
a
You
good
did a
thing.
good thing.
But if you
But
tried to pick
something
something that you
that
don't have a high enough stat for, they're not going to react well to that. And they're going to be like, why the heck did you suggest that? That's a terrible idea. And then it's like, no, bad option.
Bad option.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then in the Arcana, as well as a lot of other dating sims, it's completely invisible, and you don't know where you're at with this character until the ending where you see the outcome. And
Does it like show the stats of the
in
like
Monster Prom?
affinities? No, like does it?
No. In the Arcana,
You
just get an
end.
end. That's how you find out how you did. I
I
don't even know what choices. I could probably look it up. I haven't yet because
there's still some retail on point. I don't know
choice for
for them.
But
I'm pretty sure that there are probably some specific choices that impact
what
what
ending you get. But I don't know which choices they are, and there's no way to check where you're at with characters until you get to the end.
I think another like good example that you could have technically used a screenshot but it's kind of not like academically appropriate. Honeypot. Oh, Honeypot. Honeypot. Yeah, Honeypot is definitely a dating sim, but raunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a hentai type match 3 game, but it's like has a surprise. Yeah. But
Wow.
it has like a surprisingly like not full just not strict
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's banned on Twitch.
All right. So examples. I have not played this one, but Megan has, and says it's wonderful. I've heard it has like an actually good story, even though it's supposed to be kind of a parody. It's so ridiculous. There's some information here about kind of where it falls on all the different scales that we talk about. Main character has no canon appearance, but you do get to choose a name. Roots are determined by choices not explicitly selected. Affinity is invisible. Some characters only have one ending, which is interesting. It doesn't have like the branching possible outcomes, which I find very, very interesting. Dramatic Murder, here's the one that Brandon was trying to test me on earlier about whether or not I knew the name of it. And this is why I kind of remember the name of it. Yeah, this was what Megan had a lot of thoughts on, so I left it in here. Because yeah, it's interesting that this is one where like you don't get to pick anything about the main character; it's all predetermined for you. He has a character built into the story. You are just taking persona as you play. It's also apparently extremely violent, and she played it when she was really young and she got playing it yet. So that's fun. The Arcana, this is one that I have played. It is very good. I really like it. There's like a whole storyline going on about like murder mystery stuff, and what I think is cool is like it's interesting to see how they did it. Where like because it has this very specific storyline, all the roots kind of follow the same storyline, but it's interesting to see how drastically different it is if you prioritize your time like with a specific character. You know, I like stuff like that where it's like the same story but a bunch of different takes on it. So it's pretty compelling to me. And here are all of the romanceable NPC options. Dream Daddy, which I have not played, but I've heard is very good.
We're gonna skip through some of these.
Mystic Messenger, where the whole thing is done through texting,
I guess.
I've not played it, but do you have anything to say about it?
It takes a lot of your time. All the chats and calls are based on a day-night cycle that lines up with
And like if you miss text or calls in the middle of the night, it like hurts your relationship with these characters, and it's like you actually have to mess up your real life sleep schedule. I could never play that. I could never play that.
That's annoying.
It's wild.
It's wild.
It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun.
doing the time, doing day, night time
Yeah,
is not
that
fun.
kind of sounds like
That kind of sounds like a nightmare.
So,
So more annoying combat.
that sounds annoying when you have a life. That sounds annoying when you have a life. So if
True.
you have a life play.
True.
Yeah.
Non-VNVs,
Non-VNVs, again, elements, I do have examples of those here, even though the slide was incomplete previously.
Hades! Ha! You thought I was done talking about Hades! But you were wrong! I will never be done talking about Hades.
be done talking about
We did kind of touch on this a little bit earlier, but Hades sort of has dating sim elements. There are things you can give nectar to people, and then they like you more, and you get to learn more about them and their personal lives, their personalities, and you unlock information about them in the journal, but they'll also say different things to you. Spoiler alert, there also are a couple of romanceable options eventually. Not gonna say anything more about that though. It's great. Go play it if you didn't already know that I wanted you to play it after a few weeks ago. Also, apparently, Persona 5 in particular, I guess, there's just some stuff. I've not played Persona because I don't want to play Persona. I really want to play Persona because I've heard it's really good.
Can't miss the tunes.
That's unfortunate.
Give Ryuji some justice.
And they even made a remake of the game. And they still did it.
This is pretty cool though. Higher ranks with characters.
Gives you in combat benefits. That's neat.
Get Ryuji to level 8 humans. He has an ability where you just insta-kill some things.
Nice.
Dragon Age. I started Dragon Age Inquisition. And it had too many systems and I got really overwhelmed and I didn't play it. But there were things about it that I really liked. And there's affinity mechanics. And you get to see very explicitly who liked or didn't like choices that you made. Also, after Awakening, the Fire Emblem games also have affinity mechanics, and apparently one of them had face padding, which is really weird.
And blow.
The only in the Japanese version, it got taken out of the English version.
Yeah, they kept blowing.
Alright. Activity. Unfortunately, I don't think we really have time for the activity that I had planned. Which sucks. Well, we can't, because Art has a workshop after us. Yeah. Do you want to know what the activity is like? Okay, we're gonna make a dating sim. Except no, we're not! We were gonna play Monster Prom! But
Whoa, what?
So, it's okay.
I installed Arcana,
Yeah.
and I have one question.
Yeah.
Why are there microtransactions in transactions?
Because it's a mobile game. I actually think that the Arcana
What do you purchase it?
Oh, so basically it limits you, I haven't played in a while. I think you can play like 3 chapters per day or something like more. But honestly, like it is pretty cool. I actually think that they do a good job. Because like there's a lot of chapters. I don't know. I think that they do a good job with like the mobile game microtransactions. I never felt like that's competitive because it's always optional stuff and like you can there's an currency of these coins where you can unlock different like choices and stuff. But what's really important that they do really well is that the choices never are choices that actually impact your status with the character. They're always optional. And so I really appreciate that because I've heard that a lot of mobile VNs will have the choices that lead to the good ending are the ones that are locked behind a wall.
Is there no way to win?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But in the Arcana, they do a really good job of like the ones that are locked behind a paywall are always completely optional. They're kind of like just bonus scenes that it's like, hey, this one costs a little bit of points and you get to do this thing that you don't get to do otherwise, but it's not a huge deal. And also it's not hard to get enough coins to just do the ones that you were particularly interested in doing. So like I think that they do. I actually wrote a
I think that they
paper
do.
about
I
it
actually
in
wrote a paper
classes
about it in my
like
classes
their
about
monetizations
their
and I think that they
monetizations,
do
and
it
I think
well.
that they do it well.
Wish I could write people up.
Cool.
Anyone have any other thoughts about
dating
dating
sim or anything?
Since unfortunately we don't get to
Unless
play
Art
wants to play Monster Farm with us.
Sounds kind of fun. I'm not the one leading the workshop with us, that's pretty fun.
Like, is your computer science?
I'm gonna stop the stream now.
No, 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 yesterday, they were playing.